Welcome back to episode 10 of the Control Your Epps-perience podcast. My name is Alan Epps, the namesake, and we are officially hitting milestones. We got 10 in the books, and as such, there should be a change at least noticeable to those of you tuning in through a DSP, that is Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple, whatever it may be. I'm going to start monetizing this bitch, hopefully to try and better the quality that's available on the podcast. For those of you watching on YouTube, you might notice a slight change. Hopefully it's not dicking with the speed of my speech in the video, but I'm using a webcam this time along with an online host. But the goal is probably just to get another standalone a camera to better the quality on that. And so that's where the monetization is going. I'm not doing this necessarily for profit. I mean, I'm going to be mad at it. Guns and ammo are expensive, but anything I get will go right back into the pod, and hopefully y'all be able to see it. But yeah, so y'all will most likely be hearing a short little commercial that Anchor makes me put, and there we go. We'll be monetized. As such, because you guys are now kicking it, and thank you to my core listenership. It looks like if you listen to my metrics on Anchor, it says I've got a core audience of around 30 to 40 people. Most of you are my age, like 30s to 40s, some of you 20s and up. Somebody from Ireland is listening to me, so shout out to you. Yeah. But I hope to keep going. I hope I'm giving you guys the content you want, you need, you deserve. And if I'm not, again, hit me on my socials. You've got my email, askapps@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. I have 3 accounts. You'll see one of them is my Alpak Shakur, which is, it'll have the logo from the pod on there, but I hardly ever use it. My main, but you can hit me up there. I do check it. Or you can hit my main page, ALLEN EPPS. Right now there's like a meme about the NFC East sucking. That's my main page. You feel free to hit me up there. Or Twitter, @DependizMightier, DAPENIZ as in zebra, MIGHTIER. And a lot of you guys might be wondering where I got that, and that brings me to my next, first topic anyway. I want to send a heartfelt rest in peace to the man himself, Sir Sean Connery of Scotland. Everybody knows who Sean Connery is. Your first exposure to him might have been as James Bond. You might have seen him in The Rock, Entrapment, so many movies. Just a titan of Hollywood, a titan of just acting, just smooth as silk. He's the probably most famous man with what is technically a speech impediment, but it was iconic in and of itself, and there will never be another. He lived the ripe old age of 90. He died, I believe, in St. Kitts in his sleep. So, but I mean, just a titan of entertainment, of cinema, of the art form, and just elegance. The man himself, gosh. And that was a terrible accent. My boy Steve can do it. That's actually how we know Steve is drunk, because Steve goes into his parrot mode where he's a parrot. He can do any voice. He can do the raptors and freaking the Tyrannosaur from Jurassic Park, which aren't supposed to be made by humans, but he can do them. So that's how we know that Steve has entered the next beyond when he starts doing, well, who's going to save you now, Junior, from Indiana Jones. But again, R.I.P. to God, Sean Connery, always in our thoughts. Your art, your acting prowess will live on, and you are the benchmark for every man who will take up the mantle, or woman, of James Bond from here on out. So we salute you. And yeah, go with God. Typically how I start on my podcast, I get to talk about my Cowboys, my woe is me's. Yeah, we got blown the fuck out by the Washington what the fucks, the Wolfetus, which it needed to happen. But how Mike Nolan still has a fucking job, I don't know. Actually, they're playing right now. Because I got delayed this whole weekend again, but my niece is in town too, so she took precedence. They're playing right now, and I'm not even gonna watch the game. Again, I hope they get blown out. And anything to get Mike Nolan fucking fired. But my backup quarterback, Ben DiNucci, wants to smoke, evidently. So, I mean, I guess you like to see. He's kind of like Shane Falco. You know, he never thought he'd be playing and starting an NFL game, so he got nothing to lose. I like that, but don't go out there and get beat up in our dumpster fire of a division. But I'm not expecting anything. A lot of people are suggesting that we should just tank for Trevor Lawrence. I think we need a lot more than a quarterback. We need to draft like our first every round needs to be a fucking lineman. And again, I want to see him do right by Dak, but it's Jerry, so who fucking knows? Whatever. I don't want to see us tanking though. If we get beat, if we go defeated for the rest of the season, that's fine. But I want to see fight because they get paid too fucking much not to be fighting, and we're not like these other teams who just throw shit away. Fuck that. But yeah, that's my NFL take. Going right into the 0 days without white nonsense and some white adjacent nonsense. Some kid up in New Hampshire, I think it was. His name is Alexander Hillel Treisman, whatever it is. This jackass decided that and he's 19, I believe. Decided that he wants to attempt to kill Joe Biden. It started out as that he had posted a meme back in April and just put that caption on there, and I guess nobody really thought anything of it. But I get thrown in Facebook jail for any fucking thing, whatever. I don't know what platform he put it on, but still, how that didn't get him on a watch list, whatever. And evidently, he has been arrested before that for having a multiple IDs, buying guns in different states, and everything. And when they arrested him, he had like a van outside of a building that was reported for. Outside of a bank. It was abandoned, so of course banks are looking around like, this dude trying to rob the bank. They had arrested him plenty of times. He's been diagnosed with Asperger's, so I'm not sure how that works with buying a gun because I guess Asperger's is its own kind of thing. I don't know if it counts as being mentally adjudicated as incompetent or whatever because there's high functioning Asperger's, but that goes into the whole mental health. Where does mental health really come in when it comes to buying firearms? But the point is, this man he didn't just pop up. Okay, he's only 19 years old. He's been arrested several times. He's been found with explosives and guns purchased in various states that he does not live in. And now he's actually, according to his credit cards and everything, he got within a few miles of Joe Biden's Delaware house at a Wendy's. So he got found with several rifles, a pistol, some explosive materials, and books on bomb making. I wonder what books. I've been trying to get the original Anarchist cookbook for years, but whatever. Yeah. And on top of that, he has like over $500,000 of cash on him, which everybody is assuming is an inheritance that he got. So this jackass, 19 years old, with $500,000 on him, got nothing else better to do than try and kill a presidential candidate. And the fact that he's been arrested several times. Oh, and they found one of the last times he got arrested, in where is it? Police initially arrested Treisman. He has 6,721 images and 1,248 videos of child pornography on 8 different digital devices. So how the fuck, this man has been free this long in order to even get to the point where he's trying to threaten Vice President Biden's life is just ridiculous. But it must be nice to be white because, you can get away with that shit. You know who can't get away with that? You motherfuckers who are convinced that you're white adjacent because the world will remind you, okay? And there was some dude in Arizona, and I've long since known that Arizona was I've driven through Arizona briefly, so I'm not trying to say that I have to stay there, but you have to have situational awareness wherever you're going places in the country. And I've driven literally all over this country. The only place I haven't really gone is the far northeast, like Maine, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire, all that, Massachusetts. But you got to know where you're at. And Arizona is obviously racist, okay? Joe Arpaio, that sheriff who put people on chain gangs and authorizing stopping brown people to ask them for their papers to prove they're American and shit like that, if that wasn't a clue in and of itself. But some dude, he was and I forgot his name. I believe he's Vietnamese, but he looks literally like the late great Pat Morita, but a great value version. For those of you who don't know, that's Mr. Miyagi from the Karate Kid. But there was a black YouTuber, and I don't know his name, but he was out there just, doing some location shoots, I guess, getting ready to make a video. And the dude just walks up to him and at first acting like a concerned citizen, like just straight out of the Caucasian playbook. But then he just went right into it. He said, well, I am a racist, and this is a no nigger zone. And I'm like, this happens to the right people, because I was hopeful. This dude was, he was black. He had, I'm rough right now, but normally I got my side shades, either ponytail, man bun, or braids. Dude had a bun, and I just like, yam him. You're not allowed to have a fucking bun and not know like some sort of martial art and be about that action or whatever. But he didn't. And what the dude just flat out, oh yeah, this is a no nigger zone. We've had problems. I'm like, nah, he would have been beat the fuck up. And the only thing I can surmise is maybe there was shock, you know what I mean? Or maybe that YouTuber has a record, or he knew where he was and he didn't want to. Yeah, he'd have been righteous for doing it, but the cops wouldn't have seen him that way. I'm giving him all kinds of bail and everything, but I can tell you, had that been me, his face would have been fucking broke. That would have been it. And I mean, the worst part of it was when and again, this is not me shit talking the YouTuber, because you don't know how you're gonna react until this shit happens. It's easy to, I would have done this and that, but like the dude said to him, he was like, "It's a no nigger zone," and he was, "What do you mean? We're here." So it's like he was acknowledging that it was internalized. I mean, and again, maybe he just didn't have anything really. It was so shocking. He didn't have anything quick to say. I don't know, but that was just kind of disturbing on my end. But I really wish we just started normalizing beating these motherfuckers the fuck up, because this shit is. I'm tired of it, And if I'm gonna shoot y'all bail for these, we're not our ancestors, and say it's not a slight to our ancestors, y'all gotta be about that action. That's just the long and short of it. All right. But let me round it out for some of y'all. Maybe, hopefully, some of y'all are listening. Thinking I'm too hard on y'all. Prince Harry, Meghan Markle's husband, who gave up his throne and everything for his black woman. Shout out to him. Anyway, he did an interview and basically acknowledging that he was blind to his privilege, not necessarily as a royal, he's got to know it, but just as a white people, and that his inherent bias, that you think you know what bias is, but you have to step outside of yourself and who you are. And you can imagine that's hard for the average broke-ass white person in America. A prince. So shout out to him doing the work. Shout out to him forcing everybody else to do the work. And I'm not even going to say encouraging people to do the work. If the prince can do it, what's your fucking excuse? So shout out to him doing the work on himself. I hope trying to influence the world in a positive way. Speaking of influencing the world in a positive way, Mike Tyson has been doing these interviews, and I didn't know this was a thing. The first one I saw was a chopped up version of the members of the JBP on talking to him. And, they had chopped the audio to make it look like he was talking to them crazy. I'm sure he was talking to them crazy, but just making it look like a lot wilder than it is, like he was going to snap on them at any moment. But it was an interview with Boosie, and among the topics they were talking about, Boosie's comments discussing Zaya Wade. And Mike just flat out asked him, like, why is this a thing for you? And normally the people who are like this are closeted homosexuals themselves, and they hate themselves and they project. Is that what's going on with you? But he said it in that Mike Tyson tone where there's calm, but I can tear your throat out. That calm tone that only comes when you were at one time and you possibly feel that you still are the baddest motherfucker in the planet. Ain't nobody about to try you. Okay? But from the outside look, it was funny. Don't get me wrong, it was funny. I don't think he punked Boosie. It's just that, like, with that statement, so much as his presence, Boosie didn't want no smoke. And be clear, Boosie has a body, allegedly, or possibly more. So this man has killed people. But, and I don't think Mike has officially killed anyone. Who knows what happened to him? But when you get two people who know what it is, everything else just sorts itself out. I don't think, and this is the equivalent of an OG checking a younger dude. So I don't think it was so much aggression any more than is inherent with Mike. I don't think he was trying to make him like threaten him or anything like that. But you heard a whole different Boosie. Like, there was none of that energy that he gave the Breakfast Club. None of that bass in his voice. It was trembling. He was thinking about what he said. And, in an introspective way, Boosie even said, sometimes I just need to shut the fuck up. And Mike was like, so why don't you? I challenge all of you and myself, because there's plenty of times where I should probably shut the fuck up. The difference is, y'all ain't Mike, and you might have to beat my ass. So it is what it is. and right along the vein of influencing the world. So Saweetie, fine ass. I guess I didn't even watch the shit, but the long and short of it was that she either made a post or a video or something like that saying that if son can't buy you a Birkin bag, toss him back to the streets. And I guess that's got everybody in the tizzy. It's got men in the tizzy. It's got women in the why? Okay, first of all, it's Saweetie. Okay, she's an influencer. She's a rapper. She does things for the traffic. Okay. Second of all, she's dating a nigga who buys her Birkins. So she's true to this. Okay. Now, whether or not you motherfuckers can do it, it's just something. I just take it as something cute to say, like, and for girls to like put in their captions or like. But niggas is really offended. Like, oh, that's what's so materialistic about women. First of all, motherfucker. From what I understand, the Birkin is a limited bag, just kind of like Ferraris, where even if you have Ferrari money, there's certain Ferraris that you, as a new car owner, can't buy. You have to be on like a Ferrari approved buyer, either because you've owned X amount of Ferraris or you're, you know what I mean, before you can get the hotness. So yeah, you can go get your 458, but you're not going to get an F40, an F50, limited editions, shit like that. So it's the same thing with Hermes and the Birkin bags, all right? So this really ain't y'all problem, but black people just love worrying about shit that ain't our fucking problem. And then, you know, some of y'all got these sugar baby aspirations, but you got the face and body of a warehouse worker. Like, so, I mean, have your fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's a bar. It's quotable. We do the same shit with Drake, you know, for dudes or Future when he gets off some misogynistic shit, and it's funny, the captions. So I'm not mad at the ladies. And I'm not even mad at Saweetie because she lived that life. But why are y'all so upset? Like, I don't know. There's some shit to be upset about. Like, what the fuck is going on in Philadelphia? So the first story that I saw, and I watched the video, was that the Philly police were chasing somebody on a moped. And we all know, you know, for the Meek drama that ended up violating his parole or probation at one point, Philly has a huge problem, or at least a huge presence. You can call it a problem depending on what side of the coin you fall on. But anyway, there's always somebody in the Philly streets with a moped or ATV or something like that. And we got the same thing going on in DC. I'm from PG, but down here in DC, they got the same thing. And there's a movie about it in Baltimore, the Charm City Kings and everything, that I think is actually out right now. I don't know if it's on Amazon or what, but I've been meaning to watch that. Anyway, one of those dudes was in the street, and from what I understand, Philadelphia has a no chase order, which is the same thing as everywhere else, because you're not going to be able to chase these people through parks and off-road. And then two, it poses a risk to the public. You know, people crossing the street, other cars, high-speed chases. So they're just supposed to corral them, get them off the street, or like block the street from them. But it was clear that one of these police cruisers chased after this dude and hit him. So the SUV struck the back of the moped, threw the driver and the moped up against a wall, and then, you know, they arrested him. But of course, the Philly PD are lying, saying that, oh, they never struck him and he never went up on, you know, that the dude just fell. Bullshit. You can see it clearly on the camera. And if that wasn't enough, the same day somebody posted a hashtag of one of our names, and again, it was the Philadelphia police who had shot a man who evidently had a knife. As more details came out, his name was Walter Wallace Jr., and of course we want to say his name. And he did have a knife. It is reported that he has documented mental health issues. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it's commonly known that in the neighborhood and everything that he is not of the right mind a lot of the times. And when the police arrived, his mother was out there, and he started walking towards them. The mom tried to disarm him at some point and was unsuccessful when he had the knife, and at some point he got shot. There were multiple. What we do know is that there were multiple officers on site, and he was struck at least 16 times. Now, the Philly police have said that they are going to release the body cam video. I haven't seen it yet, but at the same time, it's like there were multiple officers that shot 16 times, which we can just assume that there's at least two. I would guess around 3 or 4. But because the average, if they're using 9mm, the average duty weapon can carry at least 15 plus 1, maybe 16 plus 1. No one cop emptied their mag while the other one sat there and didn't. So if you figure every cop got off 2 to 3 shots, maybe even 4, and never mind the ones that missed, yeah. So there were multiple police there, which is the real issue here. You know, I understand the emotions and the raw nerve that this, because it's just, when is it going to stop? You know, but we need to make sure that we are making the arguments that have merit and the arguments that cannot just easily be dismissed, the arguments that cannot be chalked up to feelings and vitriol. Okay, not to say that they have, you know, treated any of our arguments with the levity that they need, but we need to be precise. Okay, there's a lot of claims that saying why does this always happen? Since when does a gun beat a knife? Is deadly force. You are not going to win that argument for 2 reasons. One, that's just the law. A knife is considered deadly force, so you don't respond to deadly force with less than lethal force. And then number 2, like, if you don't believe that a knife poses a serious threat to anybody, let alone even if you are armed with a pistol, shotgun, whatever it may be, go on YouTube, look up the 21-foot rule. Okay, 21-foot rule, where there's tons of videos, because this is gospel, this is doctrine all over the world, that within 21 feet, the average person, not an athlete, the average person can close the distance between them and somebody with a gun and stab them several times before they're shot, or before the other person has the time to draw their weapon and shoot. Now, everybody says that if they knew he had a knife, they had the guns out, that might be something in itself. But you can still close that 20. Yeah, you might get shot, but the bullets are not necessarily going to drop you right away. You can still close that distance and put a lethal wound on someone. Okay, so that 21-foot rule is gospel. But that's the problem. Not the 21-foot rule itself, but the way that it's employed and the excuse that is levied behind it. It's almost like, I liken it to when you're a kid and you know, you got siblings and they're like, oh, don't touch me. So then your sibling does this shit and holds a finger like right in front of, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching, and then, you know, you hit them or whatever. And that's basically what's happening with police. Far too many police use that 21-foot rule as an excuse that once you're in 21 feet, I can abandon any diffusing thoughts of diffusing a situation or anything. I have just cause to shoot you, and per the book, I'm indemnified. That's what it is. But the fact of the matter is that even though you don't respond to lethal force with less than lethal force, you have options when you have multiple people there. Where were the tactics? Because that person with the knife only really poses a lethal threat to any one of you at any one point in time. So if you have multiple people, there's no reason why you can't spread out and make that person with the knife choose a target. And while you have several people presenting a lethal option, one or more, depending on how many people you have, can try to employ the pepper spray, the taser, while deconflicting angles, so that if they fail, the people behind you with the lethal shot can take the shot. We do this for animals. Okay, like anytime you go on YouTube or anything, you see like a bear or whatever it may be wanders into civilians, you know, they send a guy out there with a tranq dart, but there's a guy right next to him with the lethal, just in case that the tranq doesn't kick in time, or they miss, or the bear or whatever charges. But we can't do that with human lives. So that's the falling short, the tactics, not the rule, but the tactics and the culture. So that's a training thing. They want to complain about training, but that's fucking common sense. You're telling me that animal control is better trained than you? And then that comes into they don't see us as worth fixing, because we hear this, but then we see so many other stories of just 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 pods ago, where the dude shot at cops, killed one of them, but was arrested. And then disturbing reports, again, we got to wait on the body cam, but evidently he might have been running away from the police when they shot him. He wasn't even charging at them with the knife. So I don't pretend to make any excuses for police who had to murder another black man instead of doing their fucking job to serve and protect. But we got to make arguments that count. And another argument that is just going to fall on deaf ears is, why don't they shoot him in the leg? All right, again, YouTube is full of videos like this. I think I even did one, but you got to understand the anatomy of the leg. And while leg shots can be just as fatal, okay, if you don't believe me, go ask Sean Taylor. You can't, because he's dead. I'm pretty sure I brought him up on this pod too. But there's so many, the femoral artery veins in your leg, that even if the bullet does not hit directly, if it hits a bone in there, it's going to send shards and shrapnel that can cut out that artery, and you will bleed out in seconds, if not minutes. Okay? And it's a very hard target to hit stationary, because it's smaller than the rest of the body. Oh, and now he's running at you, moving. So, and you're responsible for every bullet you shoot. So every miss theoretically can hit somebody behind you. All right? That's why cops shoot center mass. They don't shoot to kill. They shoot to stop the threat. Unfortunately, because bullets are lethal force, and it can take multiple bullets, and sometimes if there's more than one person, you hear the shot go off, you're also shooting, people die. Okay? But again, I don't see the tactics here. All right? There's no reason why if you have 3 or more officers, 2 with lethal force can't fan out and give the person in the middle of the angle to deploy the taser or the pepper spray, and if it doesn't work, the other guys still have the shot. I don't understand this. They can do it with a goddamn bear. They can do it with a wolf. They can do it with tiger, whatever an animal is, but they can't do it with a human life. I don't get it. I get it, but that whole argument of just using the hide behind the 21-foot rule is the problem. They have established doctrine that I don't question the validity of the 21-foot rule because that has been learned in blood. But that's not carte blanche to just do whatever you want because they crossed the line or draw a line in your head. That's not it, and it won't ever be it. So again, my thoughts and prayers are with Walter Wallace Jr.'s family. His mother had to watch him die. I can't imagine the pain she's going through. And we will continue to add his name to the long list of others, of our people whose lives are routinely snatched by police, shift police. It's now Sunday night, and we're 2 days ahead of the election. It's anybody's game. Like I said, up until the RNC, I knew Trump had the shit in the bag, but he's been steadily unraveling. Well, when I say unraveling, he's been unraveled. But I'm talking about towards his base. Even his base has to get paused to be like, what the hell was that? From the RNC, the first debate, and just the coronavirus, and you're seeing his foothold amongst seniors slip and old white people because guess what? You're a rich asshole. But it's anybody's game now. There's record early voting, particularly in Texas, which is not considered a battleground state, but it looks like it could be. We've seen signs of, I won't say there have been signs of life that Texas, which is known as a Republican stronghold, can flip. It hasn't done so since Jimmy Carter defeated Gerald Ford back in the 70s. But, with Beto's run a few years ago, there have been some sparks of a blue shift in Texas, and right now, as of Thursday, the end of Thursday, beginning of Friday, 9 million plus people had early voted in Texas, compared to the total little over 6 million that voted at all in 2016. And in 2016, Donald Trump won Texas by either 9 or 12. I can't remember, but a lot, 9 or 12 points. But at the end of there's no way they counted all these ballots already. But when they announced the 9 million people had voted, they said that there was only a 3-point spread between Biden and Trump in Trump's favor. Now that in itself shows participation. What it actually means, we won't really know until we compare that to the election people, the numbers who actually show up on election day. Obviously, we know that voter turnout has increased significantly, but as far as who's voting, we won't know that until election day. The early voting most likely was a lot of Democrats, so and that's what they said. There were a lot of votes coming out of Houston and Dallas, where the black people are. So there's a good chance that the Democrats have, had the strongest showing that they're going to have, and there's going to be a surge for the Republicans, but who knows? But that's just goes to show that, more people are voting. So that's a good sign. And it's been like that all over the country in battleground states. But again, we won't know, at least most likely for several weeks after the election, once they tally all these votes. And then, of course, people debating or arguing who won. But I guess it's promising in the sense that people are more engaged. What I'm really concerned about is, so let's say Trump wins. Are we going to see another turnout like this again? Because you're going to have people saying, oh, see, voting don't count. It's going to happen anyway. You know what I mean? Or if Biden wins, like, all right, we voted, so back to not giving a fuck. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball. That could turn out any which way. But I don't understand why, even if you don't think your vote is mattering, it's your civic, I don't want to say civic duty because not everybody's driven by duty, but it's just like, don't you feel like you have the I eat ass face if you're bitching about something that you didn't even at least participate in? Like, I feel like you have to vote before you can get the right to say, oh, it don't mean nothing. At least you got up and did something. So, and what is also crazy to me is the Supreme Court is not enforcing or has allowed states, I guess, to write their own election rules. So, like, the early voters, from what I understand from a friend of mine on Instagram, she said that she's in Texas. If your vote was not sent off by Tuesday of this past week, Tuesday or Wednesday, then don't rely on a mail-in ballot. Go and vote because Texas in particular has restricted the amount of mail routes and then drop-off spots for voting. So Texas is bigger than a lot of countries. So counties over there are bigger than states. People have to drive hundreds of miles to go drop off their ballot in one location. So they're saying that if you sent it off, yeah, it's postmarked before November 3rd, but if it doesn't get there by November 4th, they won't count it. Which is crazy because there's other states where as long as the ballot has been postmarked by the time that it was supposed to be there, they have to count it. And how that's not standardized, I don't fucking know. But you can guess the states that are making it as narrow a window as possible. They would have been considered red strongholds. They're the ones who are limiting who can vote and when. So I guess, like I said, we're as long as you cast your vote. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I told you my thoughts on it or whatever. I don't at least get involved and batten down the hatches, man. I hope you guys got food, gas in your vehicles, guns, ammo, lock and loaded. Not that I think a civil war is going to pop up, but if there is civil unrest, you want to be in your house somewhere. You can put your back against a friendly wall and ride it out. So minimize the chances or the reasons why you have to be out in the streets. Yeah, because it's already getting crazy. Like, I've seen 2 videos already. Well, no, I've seen one video and heard another thing. So there's a video in Austin, Texas, where there's a Biden-Harris van. I don't know who was on it. I feel like if Biden or Harris were on it, we'd have heard something from them. But it's at least a campaign van, bus because it's got them, their logo all over it. Being harassed by like a caravan of F-150s and other pickup trucks billowing Trump banners behind them. And, they're crowding them. It looks like they're trying to run them off the road, but you don't ever actually see one of them make contact. But there's another vehicle, presumably that's not part of their group, and one of the F-150s crashes into it. And they're blocking up the highway, crowded. You're not supposed to crowd big buses like that anyway, but they're just blocking their path. And even the girl who's taking the video is one of the vehicles sympathetic to the Trump caravan, was saying that, yeah, we're running them out of Texas. And just random shit. And it's Texas, so you have to assume they're armed. Okay, everybody's got guns in Texas. And there were reports that they caused another accident that wasn't on the video. I don't know about that, but you can clearly see one of the F-150s hit one of the other vehicles and could have caused a major incident on the highway. Up here in PG County in the DMV, well, if you know anything about DC, there's a highway that basically forms a circle around it known as the Beltway. And there was like a 3-mile caravan traveling, making a loop around the Beltway for Trump. And I didn't know anything about it. I was supposed to go to the gun range today. Well, I did go to the gun range, but one of them was closed because some jackass violated the lane rules and shot ammo that he wasn't supposed to. They fucked up the range. So they shut down the lanes. And it was like a 4-hour wait. And then we went to Virginia because they told us it was a 30-minute wait. But I guess everybody else who was struck out at our range went there. So we didn't get to shoot. But, yeah. But my boy who came to pick me up, he said that on the way over there, he passed like a 3-mile long train of just Trump fans, which, I don't know, they're getting bold, especially up here to pull that shit. But, and gas is higher than giraffe pussy right now. Like, what are you hoping to accomplish sitting in traffic, gumming up traffic? Yeah, I don't know. People need hobbies, but I guess that is their hobby. Whatever. But oh yeah, I wasn't done on Philly. So in addition to ramming the moped, in addition to shooting a black man with mental issues with knives and a knife, and not using tactics at their disposal, Philly PD also harassed a vehicle that was fleeing, I guess, a Trump demonstration or something like that. And they initially reported that they found this toddler wandering the streets and they saved him or whatever, and they arrested the negligent parent. But in actuality, there's video of them harassing this vehicle, getting it to stop, pulling the mother out and beating her, and then taking the toddler and trying to rebrand that, she was an abusive mom and let her kid walk the streets. So I don't know what the fuck is going on in Philadelphia, but yeah. And I saw some unrest. I won't call it a riot because I don't know if it got that big or not. But this is only going to get worse. There's 2 days until the election as of right now, but who knows what's going to happen while the results are being tabulated and debated. In international fuckery, so there was a stabbing / beheading in France. Now you recall, I want to say a week or two ago, there was another a teacher in Paris who was beheaded because he had shown his class members a cartoon picture of the Prophet Muhammad, which is a no-no in the Muslim faith. Now, does that mean that every Muslim that you show a drawing, because there are no pictures or anything like that, people draw a white Jesus and put them up on church walls, but they don't do that to the Prophet. And, there was that Charlie Himdall, or it was a newspaper that ran a comic back in a few years ago in Paris that was the victim of a major terror attack for the same thing, for posting a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad. So now years later, this professor teacher showed his class, and then somebody caught him and cut his head off. And that was like last week or two. Now there had been yet another attack inside of a church where 3 people were killed, 2 of them were stabbed, and 1 was beheaded. Nobody's claimed responsibility for the attack, but you figure it's got to be something along those lines. Yeah, so Paris is wilding right now. I don't even know what to say to that shit. Like, because on the one hand, it's like you want to say respect other people's religion, but I don't ever want to be like, oh, if you respect my religion, I'm gonna cut your head off. Because knowing me, in my comfort zone, if I knew somebody was about that life, I would do it just to dare them. I'd shoot them now. I also make terrible decisions. But that's the way I feel about it. Like, get the fuck out of my face. But at the same time, it's like you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. It's like, if you know you're in an area where you can't be armed, you know you're in an area where motherfuckers are in the streets about to protect your neck. Like, literally. What the fuck y'all doing? But free speech, all that. You hate to see it. In other internet and the tizzy news, so Dwight Howard, fresh off becoming a NBA champion, and I did not realize that he was booed up with Bihhh from WNBA, but a photo surfaced of him getting a ring from his new boo. And earlier in the week, there was a video on Instagram, I think it was, of his 12-year-old son, or an interview at the very least, saying that he hates his father because he hasn't seen him in years, or sometimes he's never in his life. He needs him, but he can't be bothered to be in his life and be a father to him. So, and that's heartbreaking in and of itself, regardless of the right or wrong, or if it's true or not. For a child to articulate that would pull on anybody's heartstrings. And then, of course, the next thing you see from Dwight is this ring that he's got, and that he did an interview saying that, he's had issues with the child's mother, who won't let him see it. What would do? I mean, here's my thing. I'm not in that Dwight Howard household, okay? If I was, I'd be breaking him and Tia Cooper up because that's bad. But anyway, my issue is that this ain't the first nonsense we've heard out of the Howard camp. And I say this knowing that I have a close personal friend who grew up with Dwight. I'm not going to say what capacity, but she knows him personally. All right? And it's always been a touchy issue over the years when stuff surrounding Dwight comes up, because that's they're tight and she's protective of him. But at the same time, it's like I see a pattern of behavior here where it's like at what point is somebody that he respects gonna check him? Kind of like in the same vein that Mike checked Boosie. Because we for years have heard this baby mama drama that he's got kids all over the place. Men don't believe in condoms. He just be fucking any and everybody. All right. But whatever. It's his dick. I don't care. I'm actually kind of jealous, but whatever. So from there, it's like, at what point are you going to take responsibility for your fuck shit? The other thing is, you had the whole situation with him allegedly having a transgender mistress? But I don't even know what the term is. But some transgender person was claiming to have receipts, posted like a bunch of text messages, and that kind of just went away. Dwight said, "Oh, it wasn't me," but he kind of laughed it off, didn't provide no counter receipts or argue with the receipts that were provided. But that kind of went away. And again, I don't say this that's anything to defend. If he likes transgender, whatever, live your fucking truth. All right, but the fact of the matter is, he's not what I'm saying is the pattern behavior is he's not confronting the issues in his life. I respect the whole, maybe he doesn't want to confront it in the public eye or whatever, like he wants to handle his business in house. That'd be cool if he was actually handling his business in house. So why is it that a 12-year-old of your son is on Instagram crying out for you? And maybe it's just a cry for attention. Maybe it's bullshit. Maybe you just bought that nigga some sneakers last week. Maybe you didn't get him the PS5 and that's like that. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, he's on Instagram saying this, and you're giving an interview instead of going to see about your fucking child. And that rubbed me the wrong way. Like, so it's all this deflectionism. I see it all over, you know. And then I was arguing about this with an imbecile in a Facebook group, of course. And this idiot, you know, we're talking about at face value, it appears, I'm shooting in the bail, I'm not in that house, that Dwight Howard is more concerned with his new girlfriend, new fiance, than his established responsibilities. And then the question became like, how can you get with a man who does not take his responsibility as a father seriously? And then, you know, I mean, he's 6 foot million and a millionaire, like you get away with a lot of shit. But some idiot, and this is a male, because I'm not going to call him a man, basically found this opportunity to try and shit on women, especially black women. Oh, blame it on the matriarchy because Dwight grew up not seeing what a man was, and that's why, you know, it's his mom's fault for driving his father away. I'm like, but of course they never ask the question, where is his fucking father? Everything is always back on the woman, and specifically black women's fault, that they don't seek out leaders, so then their son never learns how to be a leader. But at the same time, the male is the leader, so you're supposed to submit. Just talking in fucking... And it's the type of shit. And then he tried to call me crazy. He called me a feminist, which any of you actually know me, or at least know me through Facebook, know I get called somebody's misogynist or woman hater or some bitter man at least once or twice a week. So for this idiot to call me, that's how off base he was, because I was getting in his ass. He called me a feminist. And the messed up part is it's a DMV group, like DMV Social, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and he told me, oh, you're probably popping your neck. I was like, well, I mean, you can pull up. Of course, he ain't want none of that. He deleted his fucking comment. But yeah, man, I don't know. We need to have a conversation about that, but I don't even know what the fucking conversation is, because it's like, who knows what that life is like, what the inner dynamics of what's going on in his house, because he has so many. He's got multiple children's mothers, got multiple kids, got the other shit going on. Now he's engaged to this young, fine little girl. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we can't have the conversation about not shirking responsibility. If we're talking about male deficiencies, male responsibilities, I don't want to hear shit about how a woman didn't, let you be a man when you're supposed to be a man fucking regardless. Because these women are out here being women regardless. All right? And if you're not fighting in court for your kids, if you're not giving every penny you have, if they're not eating before you are, if you don't know what they size shooter were, then you're not doing what you need to do as a man. I don't care how hard that woman is making it. And I'm not discounting it. There are plenty of women who prevent fathers from being the best father that they can be, but that doesn't mean you don't get to try. And don't say, oh, I tried today, that's it. No. Every waking moment is supposed to be for that child. I don't understand it. And until people want to be honest, until black men want to be honest about that, nothing's going to fucking change. I saw that there was some. I'm assuming it's the BET Hip Hop Awards passed, and Meg Thee Stallion won Album of the Year, and I guess there was some vitriol with fans saying that Lil Baby should have won, and he got robbed, and she got the sympathy vote, and this, that, and the third. And let me start off by saying I believe there's some merit to some aspect of that, but I mean, Meg pretty much defined all that summer and a lot of this summer. Now, albeit a lot of it is for some nonsense because a midget shot her in the fucking foot. So yeah, there could be some sympathy vote and everything, but you're not gonna act like she just didn't have smash records. And on top of that, it's like, I do believe that Lil Baby, while he is mainly the superior of all the infantile rappers, is a better rapper than Meg Thee Stallion and has put out a more solid, larger body of work. He, his albums went platinum. I guess a lot of people, even the hotties, Megan Thee Stallion's camp, even said her album wasn't what they wanted, or not what they wanted, but not as great as they expected it to be. But she had some smash singles. And Lil Baby has more gold and platinum singles and everything like that. So he was robbed. So I'm not gonna outright say he was robbed, but I definitely see the argument that perhaps he should have won the award. But I got into it with this. I don't want to say got into it. I wasn't in my feelings, but anytime you start trying to talk sense to people who don't make any, they always try to make it seem like you're mad. That's just a special. But shout out to Twilation. She's a makeup artist, I believe, in Minneapolis, so y'all can go find her on Facebook. Anyway, so she said, her argument was that I never even heard a Lil Baby track, which struck me as odd because I'm like, how do you listen to hip hop? You don't know who Lil Baby is. So I posted some of her common songs, and not only did she say that she had never heard them, which okay, that's fine, but then they were trash, and I'm like, don't do this, okay? Like don't fucking do that. But of course, because I made the mistake of assuming that she knew these were the BET Hip Hop Awards, you said that you had never heard him, implying that he didn't have the reach out there. But it was more so an indictment on you being a casual fan, which is okay. And there's nothing wrong with being a casual fan. Just say that. You don't get to be a casual fan and say, oh yeah, this one she should have won when you haven't done a prerequisite. You don't do the reading, if you will. That's like saying that Dr. Seuss was a better author than J.R. Tolkien. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Cat in the Hat rung off, but two different classes, and if you've never read The Lord of the Rings, you don't know what you're talking about. And just because you never heard of The Lord of the Rings, everybody else has heard of The Lord of the Rings. Then I went into this whole diatribe about how I'm doing the most, and whatever. It's just typical arguing with women. But shout out to both Lil Baby and Megan Thee Stallion making quality music. I'm obviously anxious to see what happens with Megan and Tory, and I hate that that's more on my mind than her actual music. But then again, I was never really like, I don't twerk, so there's only so far. Megan's music kind of appeals to me. I like what happens when her music comes on, and she can rap. And if she gives me something more than that, I'll be all the way here for it. But in that vein, I do think Lil Baby probably should have won, but I'm not mad that Megan has the award, if that makes any fucking sense. I don't know if y'all saw it, but there was a video that went viral of a wrestler. He was a backyard wrestler. It looked like he had built a ring in his backyard. I don't know if he was part of some amateur promotion or whatever. But the point is, he snapped the shit out of his legs. He went off the top rope, the turnbuckle, did a flip or something, and then landed, and his legs started, both of them bent the other way. And I fucking screamed. Like, that shit was fucking insane. And evidently he's got a GoFundMe, which is great, but a lot of people, I guess he was asking for $200,000, which is a lot of money, but at the same time, it's like, you snap both of your legs, your femurs. God knows how long you're going to be in traction. God knows what kind of rehab you're going to have and miss the work and all this other stuff. So, yeah, I can clearly see it. And what kind of insurance you have. I imagine probably not that great if you're backyard wrestling, because people don't understand, while wrestling, the combat is fake, the sport, it's still a sport, because these people are training themselves to learn how to fall properly, to deal with injuries, to bleed on, they're actually getting cut. They're getting hit with steel. I used to think that wrestling had fake steel chairs. No, nigga, that's a steel chair. Them niggas just let you hit them. That's fucking insane. So hopefully that white man is okay, because you knew it wasn't one of us. Jesus fucking Christ. Back into some heavier shit. So recently, I talked last week about people trying to cancel Ice Cube and where I stood with it, and I'm not gonna rehash that. But now, like what I said last time, they're trying to paint a narrative that, Ice Cube is an agent against the Democratic Party and selling black people out and everything. And it never ceases to amaze me that the same people who are on the internet, who said these rappers, who said Ice Cube was a speaker for black people, are the same motherfuckers that when a rapper drops a filthy song or a gangster song, look at what they're doing to our youth, look what he made my child do. You need to make up your fucking minds, okay? But this is part of the media spin, and of course, who else but the Grio is peddling this bullshit, this narrative that, Ice Cube claimed that they refused to meet with him, but he skipped a Zoom call with Kamala Harris and several other entertainers. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he said that already, and why wouldn't he? Because what really happened in that conversation? D.L. Hughley and some other people were on there, and D.L. Hughley came back and stated that, he talked to Kamala Harris about his experiences growing up and how that needs to change. And I'm sure it was a feel good, yes, you're heard. We're gonna try and address that. Yay, tell the people that we're part of them. And that's fine, that's campaigning. But Ice Cube did not want to be part of anybody's fucking campaign. So why would he get on that Zoom call? And why is that being used as, an example that, he had an opportunity to affect change, but he passed it up. He didn't have what did D.L. Hughley come away with that meeting? Did he get any guarantees of specific legislation? Did he get a timetable of XYZ is going to happen within X amount of time after they take office? No. He said that, hey, it was a productive conversation, and we talked about, the challenges of black people in school and how we want to go ahead and tackle that, and yeah, vote for Harris. That's a campaign thing. I'm not saying that if you find value in it, that's fine, but that's not what Ice Cube wanted to do. Now, does that mean that the Trumps didn't do the exact same fucking thing? No, but at least they got him there under the pretense of this is going to be a meaningful conversation with members of his executive staff that can get shit done. Not a meeting with a bunch of people who have a platform that the Democrats would like to have go out there and make their platform to get more votes. So that's on brand. But of course, here comes the Grio. Oh, he had a chance to meet with the vice president. Get the fuck out of here, man. And that's why I can't stand these uppity motherfuckers with a pen and because this is exactly what's going to happen, And this is another reason why I have a problem with people voting for Biden, because if he wins, all you motherfuckers are going to do is say, oh yeah, we got Trump out of here, and then we can go back to life as normal. And then there are going to be some cool things, the low-hanging fruit that he's going to repeal. He's going to do his best to get the kids reunited with their families. He get us a stimulus bill, wins. And then we're going to go right back saying, yeah, we did it better. And you motherfuckers aren't going to hold him accountable because you haven't been able to hold him accountable for 40 fucking years. And then you motherfuckers won't show up again in 2024. We go right back to normal, and we're going to start this whole fucking cycle again until the next Trump pops up in the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years. I'm tired of this shit. But whatever, man. Like I said, y'all got it. If he wins. If he doesn't win, I don't give a shit. If he does win, y'all are on the clock, not Biden, because I know what I'm going to get out of Biden. I want to see how y'all are going to practice what you preach and saying how you're going to push him left and encourage a real progressive movement within the Democratic Party, because we haven't had it to this point. But I'm not going down that whole thing again. So Officer Mattingly, you recall the one who did a interview in Ohio with an ABC or an NBC affiliate, basically stating, schmoozing, showing off his narcissism about how, yeah, they did what we had to do. This wasn't race related, and we're lucky to be alive. And in typical asshole fashion, he is now filing a lawsuit against the boyfriend of Breonna Taylor for shooting him. And somehow the word audacity doesn't seem to cover it. Like, how fucking dare you? But I'm also interested in the legal aspect, because it's like, if you've got qualified immunity where you can't be held accountable for killing Breonna Taylor, if you file a civil suit, does that open you up to a countersuit where this man can now sue you, and by personally or by proxy to the fucking department for the damages? Because here's the thing, it's like, what are you really going to sue him on? Kentucky is the castle doctrine. He's a lawful gun owner, and you invaded his house. He shot you. And then number two, as a police officer, isn't that part of the implied risk that you want qualified immunity for? Because you know that you can be shot or killed in the line of duty, even if you're performing your job by the book. So I'm confused as to how this even got seen. or allowed to be filed. I guess it could get dismissed at some point. That's all he did was file the lawsuit. So having filed a lawsuit pro se myself, you know, you can file it. It's just a matter of it being either dismissed or whatever. But I'm interested to see what happens with that. But honestly, the only reason we're here is because these motherfuckers face no consequence. They face no consequence from the law. They face no consequence from their jobs, because even if they get fired, their police or credentials or certificate isn't revoked. They get hired in another jurisdiction instantly. They get GoFundMes and everything. And honestly, you know, they want us, what do they say to us though? Oh, this is the most dangerous job. I don't know if I'm going to come home tonight when I clock in for work. Well, until that fear is ratcheted up that they might not make it back for the next time they kill a black man or black woman, this is shit is going to keep happening. This is just another level of the aggression where they will go to court because the GoFundMes aren't enough. The media isn't enough. The press, you know, the attaboys aren't enough for getting your nigga hunting merit badge. Now you want to add insult to injury until somebody starts laying these motherfuckers down. More of the same. More of the same. And I know I'm not advocating for people to just go out and murder police. Okay? If I had the chance right now, I would be in a uniform with a badge. Not because I have a power trip, not because, you know, well, I do hate my job. But because I know that while I'm on duty, nobody, especially no black person, is going to get shot that don't need to get shot. And if that means I got to stand in the breach against my own co-workers, well, I will do that because I know how I am. And until we get every cop to be like that, nothing's going to fucking change. I want to police my fucking community to include the members of the police force. That's what needs to happen. But I can't get hired, so guess whatever. But in the event that, you know, in the absence of actually being able to have more people on the police force, there was a young lady named, and I hope I don't butcher her name, Keiajah, I'm going to spell it for her, Keiajah Brooks of Kansas City. You can follow her on Instagram at kjg.brks. Went viral because she was speaking before the Kansas City Board of Commissioners or something like that. And now, again, this is feel good. I don't think anything is going to come of it other than a great viral moment. But she basically just went on each of them about how, you know, she's not here for police reform. She wants them abolished, and she went in on each and every one of the council members who she feels has not done their job, and not just on how they did their job, but their personal appearance. She said this motherfucker had on a throw-up colored suit, needed hair plugs, all this other shit. Yeah, so it was fucking hilarious. So yeah, go if you haven't watched it. It's a feel good watch as far as a black woman out here standing in the gap for her people, giving people a piece of her mind. Do I think it's going to go any further than that? No, not really. But yeah, that's the state of affairs right now. Not really too much going on other than that. I kind of ran through all that because like I said, I'm busy. I got stuff to do. So I apologize if this felt rushed or lacking in content, but this week has pretty much been a blur for me. I just been stocking, man. Trying to find ammo. Again, I don't expect World War III, Civil War, whatever to pop off or anything, but just like that caravan shows you, like, you think you're in an area, a populated area that's you know, heavily minority, heavily black, whatever, that don't mean anything. Who knows what the streets are going to look like? So I can only imagine what it's like for people in Republican strongholds. You know, just protect yourselves, black people. Get off the streets as much as possible. Stock up on whatever groceries, perishables you need. To anybody down in New Orleans right now, my prayers are with you. My sister is actually down in Xavier through Hurricane Zeta. Came through and hazed them. They've been without power for, I want to say, 3 days now. She's been hitting me up for money. But yeah, the world is an interesting place to say the least. And we'll see what happens. But just remember, it's up to you to control your experience all the way through it, whether or not it's by listening to me or, you know, have situational awareness in your everyday life. And I hope to see you guys and have more to report on and have at least a semblance of what's going on with this election next week. Until then, you guys take it easy. Please, 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 please be safe. And yeah, till next week.